If you have multiple interests, do not waste the next 2 to 3 years.
就在这2天 YouTube 顶流大神 Dan Koe 这位倡导少工作多赚钱，通过写作和数字产品建立收入的反卷哲学代表，用一篇长文彻底引爆了全网。题目是如果你兴趣广泛，千万别荒废接下来的2、3年。2天该文章就达到了1000万阅读。这篇文章狠狠撕开了那个我们因惯性而视而不见的残酷真相。为什么我们乖乖遵循了上学、拿证、上班的完美公式，换来的却是前所未有的空虚与迷茫？当 AI 能够秒速掌握技能的今天，为什么社会还在规训我们成为一颗随时可被替换的单功能螺丝钉？随着专家光环的褪色，我们普通人最后的护城河到底在哪里？为什么2026年将是我们实现一人公司翻身的黄金元年？答案就在这里。
If you have multiple interests, do not waste the next 2 to 3 years. Society made you think that having multiple interests was a weakness. Go to school, get a degree, get a job, retire at some point. But there is so much wrong with that sequence of events. We don't live in the industrial age anymore. Specializing in one skill is almost certain death. I feel like we all know by this point how dangerous mechanical living and siloed learning is for your psyche and soul. And people can feel that we're going through a second renaissance. Your curiosity and love for learning are your advantages in today's world, but there's something missing. For the longest time, I learned and learned and learned. I was stuck in tutorial hell. Some may call it shiny object syndrome, to point out your lack of focus. I got my dopamine from feeling smart, but my life didn't change all that much. Honestly, I felt like I was just falling behind. I tried so many different things in college. I had dreams of doing my own thing, earning an income from something creative. But after spending 5 years learning, I was met with the reality that I had to get the best job I could find just so I could survive. The missing piece was a vessel that would allow me to channel all of my interests into meaningful work that I could earn a decent income from. If you've ever felt guilty for not being able to pick one thing, if you've been told to niche down when your mind wants to expand, if you've wondered whether there's a path you can take that doesn't lead to the misery you see in everyone else's eyes, this is the greatest time to be alive. Here are 7 of the most compelling ideas I could come up with. We'll start by understanding why having multiple interests is a superpower in today's world. Then I'll give you practical steps to turn that into your life's work. We have a lot to talk about, so I hope you're here for the ride. The 3 ingredients of individual success and the death of the expert. The man whose whole life is spent in performing a few simple operations generally becomes as stupid and ignorant as it is possible for a human creature to become. Adam Smith. Funny you say that, Mr. Smith, because you created those people and we're still dealing with the backlash. Specialization took over during industrialization because in a pin factory, for example, one worker doing every step could make 20 pins a day. Then workers, each doing one step, could make 48,000. So we built an entire world around this model. Humans became assembly lines working 9 to 5 because frankly, governments don't serve the national interest, they serve their own interest. Corporations don't serve the employees' interest, they serve their own. Schools were designed to serve that interest. Their sole purpose was to create factory workers who were punctual and obedient. But this is no way to live. In lies the distinction. If pure specialization makes people stupid and dependent, what makes an individual smart and sovereign? 3 ingredients: self-education, self-interest, self-sufficiency. Self-education is clear, because if you want to achieve a result different from that of traditional education, you must direct your own learning. Self-interest raises some flags. It sounds selfish and short-sighted, but it simply means concern with one's own interest, because the only other option is to serve the interest of the organizations that compose society. Follow your interest, because your interest can very well benefit others in a selfless way. Self-sufficiency is the refusal to outsource your judgment, learning, and agency. The generalist emerges naturally from this triad. Self-interest motivates self-education. You learn because it genuinely serves your flourishing. Self-education enables self-sufficiency. You can only be sovereign over domains you understand. Self-sufficiency clarifies self-interest. When you're not dependent on others' interpretations, you can actually perceive what serves you. When we look at every CEO, founder, or creative that we actually admire, they are generalists. More importantly, they understand that ideas across domains complement each other and create a unique way of viewing the world, which allows them to catch novel ideas from the ether and translate them into market value. When we look at where the world is today, and if you understand the opportunities available to singular individuals, not just leaders, you will find that the options you have as a natural polymath are extensive. It should spark an immense amount of excitement in you. You are living through the second Renaissance. Take advantage of it. Study the science of art. Study the art of science. Develop your senses, especially learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. Leonardo da Vinci, the ultimate moat, or the final competitive edge worth paying for, in my opinion, is an opinion. A perspective that only you can see, because the uniqueness of your life experience created it. That may just be the last thing anyone else can replicate. And since that's always been the case, why not prioritize that now? Especially when automation is at our doorstep. But how do you prioritize it? How do you develop it? By pursuing multiple interests and building something with them. You see, every interest you've ever pursued leaves behind a residue. Every interest increases the number of connections that can be made. Every interest expands and increases the complexity of how you model and interpret reality. The more complex your model of reality, the more problems you can solve, opportunities you can see, and value you can create. From birth until now, you are cultivating a way of seeing things that others can't. A way of seeing things that AI can only think if you tell it what to think. A person who studied psychology and design sees user behavior differently from the pure designer. A person who learns sales and philosophy closes deals differently than the pure salesman. Your edge lies more in intersection than it does in expertise. This is the exact pattern we see in the Renaissance that is coming back with a much stronger force now. Before the printing press, knowledge was scarce. Then Gutenberg changed everything. Within 50 years, 20 million books flooded Europe. For the first time in history, a person could realistically pursue multiple domains of mastery in a single lifetime. The Renaissance was the result. Unique minds are finally free to operate the way they are supposed to. They were supposed to cross disciplines, synthesize connections, and follow curiosity wherever it led. But most of us never realized that. The printing press was the catalyst for a new type of person to emerge, a person who could learn anything, combine everything, and create what no specialist ever could. How to turn multiple interests into a lucrative way of life. There are a few things we know so far. You have multiple interests, but feel like you can't keep learning forever. You have a love for interest-based self-education, but have to carve out time outside of your career to do it. You understand the need to become self-sufficient, but you feel like you don't have value worth paying for yet. You need to be able to adapt fast because we don't know what the future of work looks like. The question then is, how do we combine all of these things into one way of life? How do we combine learning and earning into something you can do for work? To make money from your interests, you need other people to become interested in them too. That part is trivial. If you became interested in something, other people can too. You simply must learn to persuade. Further, you need a way for them to pay you. In other words, you need attention. Attention is one of the last moats. You need to become a creator. Now, before you cringe and leave, I don't exactly mean becoming a content creator. I mean that the solution to stop creating for someone else because you need them to give you a paycheck is to create for yourself. Humans, by nature, are creators who were convinced that being a machine would lead to the American dream. we are tool builders at our core. The thing is, every business is a media business now. And remember, you need attention. So yes, if you have multiple interests, it would be wise to become a content creator. But it may be easier to think of social media as a mechanism to get your interests in front of other people. You love learning? Great. Reframe it as research. And now that's literally your main job. You need to become self-sufficient? Well, you need a business to do that. And every business needs to attract customers. You need to be able to adapt. Amazing. You can build and launch new products to your audience as fast as you can build them. No other job or business model allows you to do just that with so much freedom. But how do you actually start building it? How do you tie all of this together? How to turn yourself into a business? It's unfortunate that entrepreneurship and business have become dirty words that make people think they aren't qualified to take that path. If you've ever helped someone with your interests, you're qualified to start a business. They no longer require upfront capital. The reality is that entrepreneurship is in our nature. It is modern survival. Further, the barrier of entry has collapsed. All you really need is a laptop and internet connection. Distribution is now free thanks to social media. Tools and technology now handle what used to require teams of people. Now, there are two paths you can take to start. Path one is skill-based. This is what dominated the internet for the longest time. You learn a marketable skill. You teach that skill through content. Then you sell a product or service related to that skill. The limitation here is the limitation of being a specialist. It is one-dimensional. Path two is development-based. The creators that win right now are those without a niche they can be pinned down to. Typically, they are focused on one of the four eternal markets: health, wealth, relationships, happiness. They pursue their own goals, which is their brand. They teach what they learn, which is their content. They help others achieve the goal faster, which is their product. For those with multiple interests, I obviously recommend this path. First, when you take this path, you are also taking the first path. Second, it flips the traditional model on its head. You don't create a customer avatar so that you can niche down and only focus on that. You turn yourself into the customer avatar. You pursue your goals in life and develop yourself. You have already validated the usefulness of what you will offer. You help the past version of yourself reach that same goal. Don't be a YouTube creator. Don't be a personal brand. Don't be an influencer. Be you. But in a place where your work can be discovered, followed, and supported. Right now and for the foreseeable future, that's on the internet. Jordan Peterson, or others like him, isn't a content creator, even though that's how it seems on the surface. He goes on tours, writes books, leverages social media as a base, and uses all of the tools at his disposal to spread his life's work. He isn't worried about the latest content idea trend. His mind outperforms any of those myopic growth strategies. The quality of his ideas is what sets him apart and changes people's lives, regardless of your opinion on Peterson. With that, I want to provide a different perspective on brand, content, and product. That way you can use this as a vessel for your life's work. Brand is an environment. Stop thinking of your brand as a profile picture and social media bio. Brand is an environment where people come to transform. Brand is the little world you are inviting others into. Brand isn't illustrated when a reader first visits your profile. Brand is the accumulation of ideas in your reader's mind after 3 to 6 months of following you. You illustrate your worldview, story, and philosophy for life across every single touch point. In other words, your brand is this. Your brand is your story. It would help to spend a day writing out where you came from, the low points of your life, the experiences you've had and skills you've acquired, and how those things have helped you the most. When you're thinking of ideas, content, or products, you should filter them through your story. The difficult part is realizing that your story is worth telling, even if you think it's boring or haven't reflected on your growth. My recommendation: Make a list of 5 to 10 people you respect online. Look at their profile picture, bio, and content. Take mental note of patterns between them. Start formulating what you should do for your own brand, with your own little spin. In all honesty, I wouldn't overcomplicate this or even worry about it. Your brand will take shape as you start writing content. We could even say that brand is content, so we need to get that right. Content is novel perspectives. The internet is a fire hose of information. AI is only adding more noise. That means trust and signal are more important than ever. In my opinion, the guiding light for your content should be to curate the best possible ideas in one place. If you have any plans to do podcasts or public speaking, notice how the best speakers always have 5 to 10 of their best arguments or ideas top of mind. They repeat these over and over, and that's how they build influence. The goal of curating ideas to include under your brand should fall at the intersection of performance and excitement. Step 1 is to build an idea museum. The secret of most creatives you love is that they keep a ruthless curation of notes, ideas, and sources of inspiration. In other words, they have a swipe file, as marketers call it. You need somewhere to jot down ideas as soon as they come to mind. This is a critical habit. Whenever you find an idea that is useful, either now or in the near future, write it down. You don't need content pillars or 2 to 3 topics to talk about. The ideas you curate should simply be important to you. That alone means they are relevant to a specific niche of a person, you. You gauge performance by glancing at the likes or general engagement of a post to see if it has the potential to resonate. You gauge excitement by noticing when you feel as if you are wasting something valuable if you don't write it down. Step 2 is to curate based on idea density. How do you start filling your idea museum? You need 3 to 5 sources of information that have high idea density. When I say idea density, I mean an idea that is high signal. The most idea-dense sources of information include old or little-known books, where timeless principles live, curated blogs or accounts that do the heavy lifting for you, and heavy-hitting social accounts. Finding these sources takes a few months of discovery, but the result of maintaining an idea museum of dense ideas leads to you creating idea-dense content. Your idea museum becomes a representation of the mind you are attempting to create. That's the ultimate goal. You become a curator of ideas that people wouldn't even think to ask AI for, and that people would never come across organically. That's how you become less dependent on the algorithm for your success. Step 3 is to write one idea 1,000 different ways. Becoming a good writer or speaker isn't only about the idea, but how the idea is articulated. The idea does a lot of the heavy lifting, but the structure is what makes it engaging, unique, and impactful. You could practice writing the same idea with every single post structure you come across. First, break down 3 ideas into their structure. Choose 3 posts from your idea museum that resonated with you. Then, try to break down each part of the idea and write why it works. Second, rewrite 3 ideas with different structures. Go back to your idea museum and choose one idea you didn't use in step 1. Then, try rewriting that idea with the 3 post structures you just broke down. This is how you develop range. This is how you stop staring at blank screens. This is how you turn one idea into a week's worth of content. Why are we doing this? Well, you now have all of the secrets to creating content that stands out and coming up with good ideas. Seriously, those are the secrets. Any results that come from them are a matter of practice. Systems are the new product. At this point in time, we are in a systems economy. People don't want a solution to their problems. They want your solution to their problems. There are tons of writing products out there. So what's different about my products? They're systems that I created by getting results for myself. I didn't want to teach academic nonsense. I had a few problems. I had trouble having an endless source of content ideas, and I didn't want to waste a ton of time creating content for all different platforms. So I started experimenting with my own system. My goal for the system was clear. Write all of the content I need to in under 2 hours a day. I started testing solutions. I created swipe files and templates. I mapped out exactly what I was going to attempt to write each week. During that process, I realized I could cross-post my writing to all social platforms. I also realized that threads could be turned into carousels, and newsletters could be turned into YouTube videos. From there, I realized I could copy-paste my newsletter to my blog, embed the video, promote my products, and turn that blog into more content ideas. This led to more subscribers and product sales. I realized that if everything I did was newsletter-centric, that's all I had to worry about for both growing my audience and promoting my products. That's how you stand out in a world of copy-paste products. Yes, it takes time and experience, but the end result is so worth it.